All right. It's GAC 3's season, but I'm still a couple videos behind on GAC 5, so I'm going to catch up. Uh, Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 2 came out today. I wasn't overly thrilled with it, honestly. It was kind of a filler episode. Nothing really of import. Beyond that, I'm not going to give any spoilers. First episode was awesome. Likewise, not going to give any spoilers. But so we finally have Queel and soon enough IG-11 in the game. So that'll be good. Queel's kit is pretty sick. Better for tunes outside of Mando, aside from his... Well, actually, no, that's not true. Because he does have a lot of good scoundrel synergy. But I don't know. We'll see how they all come together once we have all 5 of them. I thought that I had really good luck because I did some of the shard pulls and I was getting all 10s and 12s. And I was like, holy shit, this is great RNG. And then I realized that the minimum that you can pull from the pack is 10. But not for nothing, 10 and 12s are a lot better than 5s and 7s that we would normally get for that pack price, which is the $1,299 crystals. So we're literally getting double for our money as compared to normal. So very okay with that. That should theoretically cut the price of whaling on a character from 2 to 3 vaults in half. So that's good. Hopefully they keep up with that. I was a big fan of the mega shard packs where you would, I think it was 2,800 or something like that crystals, but minimum you could get was like 15. So I really liked that. This is honestly better than that because you're getting minimum 10 for $12.99. So that's pretty good. I'm very okay with that. I am very okay with us getting shards from Galactic Challenges because that's a nice comparatively free-to-play olive branch from CG. So I am very okay with that. Yeah, otherwise, not a whole lot going on. I mean, the election is a hot mess. Roxy's got zoomies, big surprise. You can hear her fumbling around in the background. Yeah, the election, we still don't know. It is what it is. I will say, for my own selfish reasons, I would be very okay with a Democratic president with a split Congress because, well, I wouldn't say it's empirical evidence, but certainly there's anecdotal evidence that a Democratic president with a split Congress is really good for the stock market because you have a much more comparatively conciliatory tone coming from the White House. And with a split Congress, not a whole lot of legislation is going to get through, or at least not radical legislation. So what that means for us is what I think that means for us is if there's a Democrat in the White House and Congress kind of stays status quo, no new taxes. We will get a coronavirus relief bill. Probably won't be as big as it would be if it was a clean blue sweep of both houses of Congress and the White House. But as long as we get something, I think not just the markets, but the American people are going to be better off because status quo in terms of coronavirus relief right now is nothing. So that would be nicht sehr gut. So something always better than nothing. That was one of my problems with Nancy Pelosi. Although I am a Democrat, I am not a Nancy Pelosi fan. She was more than keen to shut down even partial stimulus bills, which I get. Some people are not down with that because, if you give the Republicans that $500 billion that they want, there's no incentive for them to then move forward with stuff that the Democrats, want. Yes, in theory, that does make sense. But at the end of the day, you in Congress represent the American people, and if the American people want and need stimulus, then who are you to say otherwise? So, Mama's home. All right, so back. When Bella came home, that was actually last night. I forgot to finish recording this until the next day. A lot of stuff has happened. Joseph R. Biden Jr. has been announced as president-elect. There are many people that are not happy about it. There are probably more people that are happy about it. As Joseph R. Biden Jr. did not only win the electoral vote, but he won the popular vote. I myself, as a Democrat, initially was not super thrilled to have Joseph R. Biden Jr. as the Democratic nominee. I was worried. Really, the reason why I wasn't thrilled to have him as a Democratic nominee was because I was not convinced that he would beat Trump in a general election. My dark horse pick for the Democratic nomination was Pete Buttigieg. I love Pete Buttigieg. You may know him, you may not know him, you may know of him. He is a wonderkind. He's extremely intelligent. He is educated, and he served his country in Afghanistan. So what's not to like? Anyway, but so my main reservation with Joseph R. Biden Jr. Was that I was not convinced that he was going to beat the president. He did. Many would say the president beat himself. I certainly think that the president lost the election for himself. Had he handled COVID better, I don't think he would have lost, because the markets have been really good even with the pandemic going on. And let's be real, people care about their money, myself included. I don't necessarily vote with my money, or at least I certainly didn't vote with my money in this election. But most people vote with their money, and listen, it is what it is. You can always count on someone voting in their own self-interest. It's not a judgment. It's not an indictment. It's kind of just fact. And the good thing about facts is that once you know them, they can be predictable. So anyway, whatever side of the aisle you are on, Joseph R. Biden is the president-elect. You may not like it. You may think that there's some chicanery going on. There have been numerous members of, forget about the Democratic Party, but the Republican Party, who have said there's no chicanery, at least no more chicanery than normal, because we all know that there are, of course, some issues during every election. Ballots aren't filled out properly, or signatures don't quite match, or, going back to the hanging chads of, what was that, 2000? Yep, 2000. Um, but yeah, numerous Republicans in charge of voting in a number of places said that there was no chicanery. So, look, I'm not saying there shouldn't be recounts where warranted, because that's the law. So if the law says there needs to be a recount within such and such percentage point or fraction of a percentage point, then there should be a recount. If you trust in the system, you believe in the system, then a recount shouldn't scare you, because if it's done properly and legally, the result is going to be the same. Maybe a couple of outliers, things that were misread, or there's this whole thing about Sharpies bleeding through the cards, but I'm pretty sure the bubbles are very purposefully not on the same spots on the paper. But regardless, if there need to be recounts, there should be recounts, because that way all parties know objectively that the results are legitimate. Yeah. So, I mean, look, just under half the country is not happy that Joe Biden is the president-elect. That's fine. I wasn't super thrilled that the two best candidates that the parties could come up with were Donald J. Trump and Joseph R. Biden. I feel like the standard for executive office politicians has dropped in recent years. But look, at least I don't think Joe Biden is a dick. He is definitely not a dick. So we'll get back to this later.